Good day, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a really cool kind of poetry called shape poetry, or sometimes it is also called a concrete poetry. Imagine a poem that isn't just about something but also look like it. That is called shape poetry. It's a poetry where the way the words are arranged on the page is just as important as the word themselves. The poem shape is part of its meaning. So, we all know a traditional poem is like a story told with words. A shape poem is like a story told with words and a picture. So, the picture or the shape help us understand the story better. So, the word create the poem's meaning, but the shape adds another layer of understanding. So, now we'll explore how this works. Okay, now let's talk about the most important thing about shape poem. So the shape itself, it's not just there for decoration. It's actually connected to what the poem is about. So the poem shape directly relates to its subject or the theme. So for example, if a poem is about a tall tree, so what shape might the poem take? It might be shaped like a tree, so the branches might be made of words and the trunk might be formed by lines of text. Or the roots could be represented by words at the bottom. So the shape is the tree. This isn't just a coincidence, class. The poet carefully chooses the shape to match the poem's subject. So what is the subject of the poem is? It is the tree. So this connection between the shape and the subject makes the poem more powerful and memorable. It's like the shape adds another layer of meaning to the words, like what I've mentioned a while ago. So now in shape poetry, the way the words look on the page is just as important as what the words say. We call this typography and the spatial arrangement. It's all about how the words are arranged and shaped, their placement, spacing, and even the font used. So, think about a line breaks. In a regular poem, line breaks can change the rhythm and emphasis, di ba? In a shape poems, they're even more crucial because they can help create the poem shape where you break a line can dramatically change how the shape looks. So word spacing also matters because sometimes poets use lots of uh, space between words to create a feeling of openness or vastness. Other times, they packed words tightly together to create a feelings of density or confinement. So the spacing itself can add meaning. And lastly, the font choices impact the overall look and feel. A playful font might be used for a light-hearted poems, while a more serious font might be chosen for poems with a somber tone. The font itself, it also contributes to the poem's mood and message. All the mentioned elements like line breaks, the word spacing, and the font choices work together to create the poem's visual impact. They're not just simple details, they're essential tools that poets use to enhance their poem's meaning and create a powerful visual experience for the readers. Now, let's imagine two poems about sadness. So, one is a traditional poem with word arrangement in a standard way, and the other one is a shape poems shaped like a dropping flowers. Which poem do you think would represent a stronger feeling of sadness? So the shape like a dropping flower would likely evoke or represent a stronger feeling of sadness, di ba? Because the visual image reinforce the poem's emotion content. So the dropping shape visually represent the feeling of sadness, making the emotional impact more immediate and powerful. The shape adds a visual dimension to the poem's message, making it more engaging and memorable. It's not just about understanding the words, it's about feeling the poem's emotion through both the words and the shape. So that is also one of the characteristic of a shape poem. So, okay, class, you might be surprised to learn that shape poetry has a long history. It's not just a recent trend. Imagine ancient civilization using shapes to communicate ideas. Maybe they carved poems into stone or used sand to create shapes. That is shape poetry in its earliest form. But shape poetry really exploded in popularity in the 20th century. This was a time when the artists and writers were uh, breaking the rules and trying new things. It was a time of great creativity and exploration, and shape poetry was a perfect expression of that spirit. Uh, also, shape poetry was a perfect fit for the modernist movement. It was a fresh and exciting way to use language visually, and it allowed the poets to express their ideas in a more what we call this dynamic and encouraging way. Many famous poets experimented with shape poetry during these times, and it continues to be popular with poets today. Now, let's talk about some famous poets who have played around with shape poetry. One of the earliest example comes from an English poet named George Herbert. He lived a long time ago in the 17th century, and one of his most famous shape poems is called The Altar. In this poem, Herbert uses the shape of an altar, a table used for religious ceremonies, to represent the idea of offering oneself to God. So notice how the words in this poem are arranged in the shape of an altar. That's not a coincidence. Herbert used the shape to represent the uh, idea of offering oneself to God. So the shape adds another layer of meaning to the poem, making it more powerful and impactful. This shows that shape poetry has a long and rich history. Even centuries ago, poets were using shape to enhance their poems and communicate their ideas in a unique ways. So now we'll talk about George Herbert. But now let's meet another influential poet, which is Guillaume Apollinaire. He was a French poet who lived during a period of huge change in art and literature, the early 20th century. Apollinaire is considered a pioneer of modern shape poetry, meaning he was one of the first poets to really explore and develop this form. He is seen as one of the most important literary figure of the early 20th century, and his work greatly influenced the development of shape poetry. Apollinaire's poem often used unusual layouts, just like the example I presented in the PowerPoint, and typographic techniques to create striking visual effects. He didn't just write poems, he designed them visually, making the shape of the poem just as important as its word. He helped also show the world that shape poetry could be a powerful and innovative way to express ideas. So we've been talking about the poets from the past. But what about the poets who are writing today? These poets are called the contemporary poets. They are writing shape poetry right now, using their creativity and express themselves in exciting new ways. So contemporary poets take inspiration from the past, but they also bring their own unique perspectives. and ideas to shape poetry. They experiment with different shape, layouts, and style, pushing the boundaries of what shape poetry can be. It's amazing to see how shape poetry is still evolving and changing, and the hand of these contemporary poets. So now let's break down the process of creating a shape poem step by step. First, we have choosing a subject. First, you need a subject that works well visually. So think about things that have a clear shape, like a tree, heart, or an animals. You want a subject that you can easily represent with words. So next is sketching the shape. Before you start writing, sketch your shape on paper. This helps you visualize how your word will fit. It's like a blueprint of your poem. Next is the word placement. Now comes the fun part. So, diri ang mas lingaw nga part sa word placement. You start placing your words and phrases within the shape. So, this is where word length and spacing really matter. You need to think about visual balance. You don't want one side of your shape to be crammed with words while the other is empty. So that is the word placement. Next is the font selection. So font selection, the font you choose can make a big difference. A playful font might work well for a, like what I said earlier, a light-hearted poem, while a more serious font might uh, be better for a poem with a somber tone, di ba? So, next and last is the revision and the refinement. This is where you polish your poem. You might need to move words around, change the spacing, or even adjust the shape itself. So keep revising until you're happy with the overall visual effect or the result of your uh, output. So now we're going to explore how poets use shape to make their poems even more powerful. We'll look at some example to see how different shape can create different feelings and tell different stories. So we have our first example, the heart shape. So the word are arranged to create a heart shape. This simple shape can already convey a lot of emotion, right? Think about a love poem. So the heart shape immediately sets the tone, di ba? But what if we get more creative? What if we use a heart shape but the words inside form a spiral, which is our third example. So the spiral adds another layer of meaning. It could also represent a journey, a growing relationship, or the complexities of love. See how the change, see how changing the arrangement of the words within the same basic shape changes the meaning and feeling. So a poem shaped like a bird, which is the second example, is and flight could really capture the feeling of freedom. So the shape itself has helped the readers visualize the bird's movement and experience the feeling of freedom the poems might be describing. So our next example is the butterfly. So butterflies are often associated with transformation and beauty. A butterfly-shaped poem could reflect these themes beautifully. So notice how the symmetry of the butterfly's wings might be reflected in the poem structure. The shape helps to visually represent the poem's central idea. And next is the rainbow shape. Let's think about this rainbow. So what this rainbow symbolize? So a rainbow shape of poems could be very visually striking. The curve of the rainbow could mirror the art of story, or the journey of a character. So the vibrant color of a rainbow might also influence the poet's word choices and the overall tone of the poems. Since we're talking about shape poetry, so shape poetry it is a unique way to write that goes beyond just word on a page. Let's explore why it's such a valuable tool for learning creative writing. So first, let's talk about why shape poetry is so useful for learning creative writing. So traditional writing often focuses on grammar and sentence structure. Shape poetry adds a whole new dimension. It combines writing with visual art. Think of it like this. Uh, you are not just writing a story, you're also designing it. This makes writing more engaging and less intimidating, especially for those who might find traditional writing a bit challenging. It's a fun way to explore the power of words in a new and exciting way. So, shape poetry really pushes us to think differently about language. It's not just about the meaning of the words, it's about how those words look on the pages or on the page. You have to think visually. How can I arrange these words to create the shape of a tree, a shape of a bird, a shape of a heart? This visual thinking helps us develop a deeper understanding of how words can create images and evoke emotions, and also encourage experimentation. You're not limited to writing in a straight lines. You can play with word length, spacing, and even font to create different effects. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just all about exploring and having fun. And one of the best things about shape poetry is that it's adaptable for everyone. Younger students can create a simple shape using short words, while the older students can tackle more complex shape and experiment with more sophisticated language. So beginner can focus on creating basic shapes and simple poems, building confidence, and exploring the visual aspect of writing. So more experienced writers can use shape poetry to push their creative boundaries, experimenting with more complex shapes and imagery. So it's a tool that grows with the writer. So shape poetry is a fantastic way to make creative writing more engaging, fun, and even accessible. It encourages visual thinking, experimentation with language, and allows for creative expression across all ages and skill levels. It is also a powerful tool that can help everyone unlock their inner poets. So far, we've seen how amazing shape poetry can be. But like any creative endeavor, it comes with its own set of challenges and limitations. So let's explore this to better understand how to overcome them and create truly effective shape poems. So one of the biggest challenges in shape of poetry is finding the right balance between the visual impact and the textual meaning. So you want your poem to look great, but you also want it to say something meaningful. It's a bit like balancing on a tightrope. If you focus too much on the shape, the meaning might get lost. If you focus too much on the meaning, the shape might might not be effective also. But for example, if you create a perfect heart shape, but the words inside don't make sense or aren't emotionally resonant, so therefore the poem falls flat. Similarly, if your words create a powerful message, but the shape is weak, so or unclear, the visual impact is also lost. So the K is careful planning. Before you start arranging words, you need a strong idea of both what you want to say and what you want it to look. So another challenge is the limitations of the medium you're using. This could be the font available on your computer, the software you're using, or even the physical materials if you're writing by hands. So, for example, if you want to create a very intricate or a very intricate shape, but your font choices are limited, it might be difficult to achieve the desired visual effect. Similarly, some software might not allow for the precise control over spacing and arrangement that you need. So this limitation can influence the final product or the result, and it's important to be aware of them from the start. Sometimes you might need to adjust your design or your poem's content to work with what's available. This might involve choosing a simpler shape using different fonts or experimenting with different software. So, in conclusion, by carefully planning your design, considering the available tools, and being flexible in your approach, you can overcome these challenges and produce a visually stunning and meaningfully resonant shaped poems. So remember, the process of experimentation and problem solving is part of the creative journey. So we've explored the world of shape poetry, from its basic concept to the challenges it presents. Now let's reflect on why it's such a valuable and rewarding creative pursuit. So, shape poetry offers a something truly special, a unique blend of visual art and written words. It's not just about expressing ideas through words, it's about expressing them through a visual design as well. So this opens up a whole new world of artistic possibilities. Think about it. You can use shape to emphasize the mood, theme, or even the rhythm of your poem. So a jug shape might reflect a feeling of chaos or anger, while a smooth, flowing shape could represent peace or serenity. So the shape itself become a powerful tool for conveying meaning and emotion. It's a way to make your writing come alive in a way that traditional poetry simply can't. So creating shape poetry isn't always easy. It requires careful planning, experimentation, and problem solving. You can might need to adjust your word choices, experiment with different fonts, or even change your initial design to achieve the desired effect. But this is precisely what makes it so rewarding. The challenge pushes you to think creatively, to find innovative solutions, and to develop your skills in both visual design and writing. So overcoming these challenges is incredibly uh, satisfying and helps you grow as a writer and thinker. It's a testament to your creativity and perseverance. So, shape poetry is more more than just a writing technique. It's a journey of creative exploration. It also allows for unique artistic expression and presents a rewarding challenge that fosters innovative thinking and strengthens your reading skills. The combination of visual and textual elements makes it a truly powerful and engaging form of creative expression. So keep experimenting, keep pushing your boundaries, and keep creating. That would be all, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you and God bless.